Hello, everyone, and welcome to today's webinar on the Windows 365 Cloud PC. Here's what's coming. This is a really exciting topic. It's new, it's innovative, and we're really excited to bring it to you all today. So before I introduce today's speaker, I just want to give a brief overview of our organization and also let you know that we welcome your questions, comments, feedback throughout the presentation. If you could use the little control panel on your screen to just let us know if you have a question, use the little raise hand button, and either throughout and or at the end of the presentation, we'll call on you to share your question because probably others have the same one, and we'll be happy to address them all throughout and then at the end if we don't get to you. So without further ado, just a little bit about RCS Professional Services. We're an IT managed service provider based in New York City and Atlanta, Georgia. We help businesses with their IT and technology and do things like introduce them to new technologies such as the one that we're gonna demonstrate today. So with us today, we have our amazing CIO, Norman Dweck, in the house. Norman, you there?
Yes, I am.
Hey, Norman, welcome. So Norman's got years and years of IT experience, both at RCS and before. Without further ado, I'll hand it over to Norman to introduce us to the Cloud PC.
Wait, but first,
I forgot to introduce myself. I was so excited about introducing you, but I'm the operations manager at RCS. And I guess I'll kind of be the host for today. So as I said before, if you've got questions or comments, just let us know. But it's our mission to empower organizations to be spectacular. We do this through technology and innovation and solution support. So without further ado, Norman, it's all you.
Okay. So today we've got a good one for you. It's Windows 365 Cloud PC. And while I normally start these webinars by talking about like where you would use it, what's the problem it's trying to fix, with this one, I had to approach it just like I reacted to it when I first heard Windows 365, which was, what is this? There's Microsoft 365, there's Windows 10, Windows 11, there's all kinds of different things. What is this Windows 365? Is it Windows? Am I buying a copy of Windows? I don't know what I'm getting here. So the idea is that Microsoft is giving you a computer in the cloud for you to use as your desktop. So what does that mean? That means you come to me and you say, Norman, I need a new computer. And what I tell you is, me being Microsoft this time around, I tell you, great. Instead of you buying an actual hardware piece, keyboard and the whole thing and monitor, I'm gonna keep your computer here in my office, and you can connect to it whenever you want. And it's there, it's waiting for you, it's running all the time. Wherever you leave off, you can connect to it again anytime. You can connect to it from your computer at home. You can connect to it from a browser anywhere in the world. You can connect to it anytime, all of that. So yes, so it's a computer that I'm holding for you that you can connect to and use as you need. So hang on a second. I think we're on to the next slide. Okay, so I mentioned the whole idea of great. This is a wonderful way to mix people up by naming this Windows 365, Windows 10, Windows 11, Office 365, Microsoft 365. My God, Apple, I mean, Microsoft's in love with their names and numbers on this one. So don't get this mixed up with, say, Windows 10 or Windows 11. Windows 10, Windows 11, those are operating systems. That's the thing that's running on your computer. Office 365, Microsoft 365, these are licenses for products like email, Office apps, security stuff. That's what the Microsoft 365 and Office 365 are. And then you've got Windows 365. This is your computer in the cloud. So let's get to some use cases, as in why would anyone need this? In fact, I had this discussion with someone last night, and it took a few things before she understood what the need was here. So yeah, why? So the first thing that occurs to me right off the bat is, and we see this with our clients, we actually see this with a new client right now, it's coming up, that they have Mac users and that user needs a Windows computer for something. Do I want to get them a whole computer? No, they want to use their Mac computer. So great, I'm going to spin up a Windows 365 Cloud PC for them. They'll be able to connect to it from their Mac, and they'll be able to use it as a Windows computer as needed. Okay, great. Another use case. We've got a company that needs to ramp up for the busy season, something like an accounting firm. Accounting firms moving into tax season, they may ramp up with pulling on temporary CPAs. So great, I got to give them computers. Oh, but I've only got to do this for like 3 months. I don't want to buy these 5 people new computers. Great, I'll just spin up computers in the cloud for them. They can connect to them as they need, use them for however temporary amount of time, and then I pay per month for those things, and they're gone. I didn't have to shell out $2,000 a machine. I shelled out, I don't know, $40 a month for a machine for them. Another use case, things like, I need to give that guy a computer. No, sorry, that guy has a computer, but you know what? It's his computer at home. I don't know what's going on with that machine. There's kids using it. There's viruses on it. I don't know. I don't want him using that computer for my office stuff. So great. I'm just going to issue him a Windows 365 Cloud PC. He connects to it from his home computer. Those two don't share anything. And great, it's got a reliable machine that I can control and keep within parameters. I mentioned this one already. A company wants to control cost. You don't want to buy a computer for, a guy that's not going to be used for that long, not going to be around for that long. Great, I'll just give him something that is I can pay for monthly. I don't have to shell out a lump sum for this thing. I need a compliant machine. I am in healthcare. I need to spin up a machine for somebody, but I can't just let them use their home machine. No, that machine's got to be controlled, and the information on it's got to be in a compliant silo. I'll spin up a Windows 365 machine for them. I've got users that have laptops. My God, these people keep losing their laptops. It's killing me. What am I going to do about this? Well, I'll just give them I'll just give them a Windows 365 machine. I'm holding on to it, me being Microsoft right now. They connect to it from wherever they want. They lose their laptop. I don't care, because you know what? All of the stuff that's out of the business stuff is on the Windows 365 machine. Great. Awesome. So first thought is, okay, so I just told you that I'm going to spin up a Windows desktop for you in the cloud. And the more technical people on here are going to be thinking, isn't that VDI? VDI is virtual desktop interface. It's the concept of running desktops in the cloud for your users. And yes, the answer is, it's a whole lot like it. In fact, it's sort of an easier version of VDI. So let's take a look at some differences between these two things. With Windows 365, you get this fixed monthly price, which we're going to get into in a bit. I'm going to show you the monthly pricing. You pay a monthly price, $35 a month, whatever, and it's that price every month. And it's not like it goes up and down based on usage. Whereas a VDI situation in say, Microsoft's Azure, you're paying based on usage, and that number can go up and down. A Windows 365 machine, super easy to deploy. I'm going to get to that on a later slide. So great. So if these things, if I have these things in Windows 365, then do I even need VDI anymore? And for a lot of companies, the answer is no. But if you want more granular control of the OS, of the network, of the networking of the virtual machine, of the storage you're adding to the machine, where that storage is accessing, how I'm backing up that storage, of the compute. Oh, I need a certain type of machine for this guy, and it needs to be heavy on GPU or who knows what. Great, I can control those things in the VDI. There's all kinds of other down deep settings that you can do with VDI that you can't do with Windows 365. The idea with Windows 365 being, great, I want to give people an easy way to spin up a machine in the cloud. Another thing about VDI is, so while I mentioned that Windows 365 is a fixed monthly price, there is this concept in VDI of multiple people using the same machine. So I spin up one machine in Azure, and then I can add users to it who are sort of dividing up that machine between them. They're not all seeing the same windows. They're actually seeing different windows for each of them, but they're all running off of one piece of hardware. What I get out of that is in VDI, I pay for the machine itself. So if I can put 5 users on a machine, great, I've got an economy of scale right there. I'm paying for the machine once and using it for 5 people. Windows 365 isn't like that. You license it per user, they get that machine. You want another machine for another person, you give that person another license. Again, I'll get the pricing, and they get that machine. You're not sharing resources like that. Before I go on, are there any questions out there? Because I feel like I'm flying through this right now.
I do see one question from Keith. Keith, let me just unmute you so you could actually ask it yourself. All right, I've unmuted you. It looks like you just need to click the unmute button on your end. There you go. Hey, Keith.
Hi, good morning, or
Good morning.
good afternoon, rather. Lauren, question for you. Do you find that people that actually have been using this or intend to use it actually have a BYOD policy already in place, or is one needed for this particular usage?
So firstly, this is very new. It just came out a few months ago.
Right.
And as far as the idea of BYOD, yes, it's kind of it's gonna be for, as I went through this, like doing the research and learning all about it, there's so many use cases for this, from the idea of BYOD to I don't want them to bring their own device. I want them to use this thing, and it has to be my thing, and it has to be my way. So yeah, I put it as, to me, it feels more like I want you to use your device to connect to my thing, but my thing is the real company thing, and that's what we're going to be using to work.
Right.
Like, we have clients that have their policy of all work needs to be done on a work computer. That's it. They issue computers, those are the only ones that work can be done on. This is kind of an easier way of doing that. Does that answer your question?
Yes. Yep.
Great.
Thank you, Keith. Anybody else have questions? You could use the little raise hand button or ask the question, type it in, and we'll see it. But if you think of anything as we're moving forward, just let us know.
Okay. Where am I? Okay, so let's get to the more pros of this, because there happen to be a ton of pros of this technology that Microsoft has put out. And by the way, this is like a whole arc of Microsoft moving from their old client server ways to the cloud. They've gone from, yeah, what we do is we sell servers, server software that you're going to run on servers in your office, and we sell Windows operating system with Office and great, to, okay, we no longer want you to be installing Exchange email on your Office thing. We're going to run that for you. We're going to do it in Office 365. We don't want you to have to buy servers. We'll run those servers for you. And it's like this whole arc of Microsoft away from client server into cloud land. It's just another step. Now I can run a Windows computer, my Windows computer, in the cloud, which is awesome. So, pros, I can connect to this device from anywhere. I can be anywhere on the planet. Doesn't matter. As long as I have an internet connection and I have a Windows machine, a Mac, iOS, Android, all of those things work. You have an iPad? Yes, definitely. You can connect from all those things to this machine and use it as if you're on a Windows computer, which is awesome because, and you can connect from anywhere, anytime, which is great because, so for example, I do a lot of security stuff, right? Because we're supporting our clients, and that's a lot of security. If I need to get onto the internet and I happen to be out somewhere, and I don't know why, I would actually normally just hotspot off my phone. But if I was going to use, say, the Wi-Fi in a hotel or the Wi-Fi at an internet cafe, I don't know if those things are secure. But you know what? If I'm just using my computer to connect to the machine in the cloud, I don't have to worry about it because that communication is all encrypted, and everything is actually happening not on my computer that's connected to their wireless network. It's happening in the cloud. So yeah, connect to it from anywhere, anytime, any device. You can spin up as powerful a machine as you need. So you can start from really, like, I'm going to get to the pricing in a second. The bottom line machine, like the lowest machine, it's really not powerful at all. I'm not exactly sure what anyone would really use it for. But yeah, you can go from all the way down there to a really powerful machine. So there's the idea of, great, I gave that guy a machine, but now I need a more powerful machine. Oh God, what am I gonna do, buy another guy another computer? No, I can just upgrade the machine. Great. I mentioned this one before, paying monthly instead of one lump sum. Yeah, awesome. I don't have to shell out $2,000 for a computer. I can just pay per month. It's temporary if I need it to be. The guy only needs a computer for a few days, few months. I mean, oh, this is a great one, MFA on login. So multi-factor authentication, going back to security for a second. I want my people to connect to their machines, but I want to make sure it's that. I want to apply Microsoft security to that login. Things like MFA, conditional access, identity protection, all of these things are on that login when they go to connect to their machine. And as far as like, so this one came up, and I hadn't even thought of this one. Because that machine is sitting in Microsoft's data center, let me tell you, Microsoft's data center has some really fast internet connections. So if you were trying to pull down, hundreds of gigabytes files, which we have a client that works in movies and they do this all the time, that's going to happen super fast on those machines. Kidding, if I decided to pull down, I don't know, 400 gig file, I could be sitting here a while. But Microsoft and their data center on that Windows 365 Cloud PC, that thing's coming down super fast, super fast. So let's get to some cons, okay? Because yeah, I mean, everything's got pros and cons. I mentioned the monthly charge as a pro. Well, it's also a con. I mean, you're paying per month. It's not, we'll get to pricing. God, I keep saying we'll get to pricing, but we're getting to pricing. But yes, it adds up. If you don't have an internet connection, you are not connecting to this thing, right? Same thing with everything in the cloud. If I'm not connected, if I don't have an internet connection, I can't use it. It's not quite like everything in the cloud. Some things you can use offline. You can't on this one. Lack of granular control and customization, that's as opposed to VDI, which I mentioned earlier. And this one actually came up as I was doing a bunch of research and trying out Windows 365 and playing with it. It's new. So there are some unknowns. I'm sure someone's going to come up with a question that I am going to say, I don't know what the answer is, not because I haven't looked into it, but because I simply can't find the information yet. So yeah, it's a new technology. Microsoft is still putting out new features to it. And yeah, there are some unknowns about it. And you may run into things that, well, no one had thought of and doesn't quite work. So keep that in mind. Okay, so now let's talk about the varieties of Windows 365. So Windows 365 comes in two varieties. There's business and enterprise. There's actually a big difference here. The business machines are just the, hey, I need a machine for somebody, that's it. He's going to use a machine, it's going to connect to the internet, that's going to be fine enough for him. I don't need that machine to connect to network resources and be controlled by policy from my servers. I don't need any of that. I just need a desktop. That's the business side. The enterprise side is, yeah, I want this machine to be connected to my network. I want to control it via policies like Intune policies and Endpoint Manager. I want all of that as a real business machine inside my network. That's the enterprise side. On the business side, up to 300 users. Obviously, Microsoft thinking this is more of a smaller business situation, not enterprise. Enterprise, you got no limit. You can spin up as many users as you want. This is a weird one. I wonder whether they're going to fix this in the future. But I mentioned that you're getting the compute you need, which is one of the nice things about the cloud is I can provision the compute. When I say compute, I mean how powerful the machine is. I provision the compute as needed. But the weird thing about business is if I want to upgrade the machine, I actually am destroying the machine and creating another one. In fact, when you do the licenses, you have your license for your business machine. It's at a certain powerful level. And then when you want a better machine, you actually get another license and you apply that license to that person. What happens is this old machine gets destroyed and a new machine is spun up for him. So important difference there. In enterprise, that's not what happens. In enterprise, you can upgrade the machine. Great, it's the same machine. I think probably goes through a reboot, but yeah, you just apply the new license, or you actually can change it in the admin center, and the guy's machine is upgraded. Nothing was lost at all. And this last one I kind of mentioned to begin with, that the business machines can't see other machines on the network, while the enterprise ones can. What does that mean? And this is a really nice thing about the enterprise ones. What that means is I can spin up the enterprise, I can spin up a machine and actually have that machine essentially in my network. So here I am, I've got an office, I've got servers in the closet, I've got all of these things working, and I just need another machine. Great, I want to use a cloud machine, but that machine is not in my office, it's in Microsoft's cloud. But yeah, what you can do with the enterprise one is you can make that connection so that when you spin up that machine, it's seeing what's going on. It's seeing the stuff in your network, which is awesome. So you've got file sharing in your network. That enterprise machine can see it. On the business side, no, those are really like, I just need a simple machine for the guy to use. He's just going to use the internet. That's the business side. Okay, any questions about that, business versus enterprise? And I think I'm getting into pricing next. I am, okay.
There's some questions, but I think we'll ask them at the end. I'm not sure they're specifically on that topic.
Okay, cool. So let's get into pricing. Hang on. We're gonna bring up a web page on this one because there's a whole bunch here. Go away. Go away. Okay. So business, and this is business pricing. Okay, so there's business and enterprise, and it looks like this. So how does this work? You are basically provisioning a machine based on how much processors it has, how much RAM it has, and how much storage it has. You don't have a ton of choices, but you kind of have enough of choices across each level. So you kind of think of this as, let's see, I need a CPU, I need a multi-CPU machine, so let's say 2. I need a minimum, then I move on. Okay, I need a minimum of 8 gig. Great, okay, so then how much storage do I need? I need 128, I need 256. You get the idea there. And then you've got your pricing. Starts as low as 24, well, 20 with the Windows hybrid benefit. But the thing is, this one CPU, 2 gig of RAM, 64 gig storage, it's really an underpowered machine. Honestly, I don't know what you're going to be using it for. When you get to the 2 CPU, 4 gig RAM machines, this is where things start to be usable. When you go to, and what I mean by usable is you can have Office apps installed on it. So the way they look at it, do I have this thing loaded up? Yes, I do. Okay, the way they look at it is, and this is a Microsoft article. Again, go away. Here's your 1 CPU, 2 gig machine, that bottom line machine that I said was very not powerful. Just take a look over here. It mentions the idea of using Office Lite, which is just the web version of Office. When you get into the 2 CPU, 4 gig, that's when you start to get things like Office installed. Word, Excel, Outlook, all that. When you move to 8 gig, this is where Teams really starts working. So Teams works here, really only audio, but when you get into 8 gig, that's when Teams really starts working. And then you get up to the bigger machines where you got your 8 gig, 8 CPU, 32 gig machines. Those are people like developers, graphics people who are doing, graphics work, video situations, stuff like that. Those are the people using those things. So getting back to here we go. So as you, obviously, as you move up the rung of power, you get to more expensive machines. Here is the enterprise pricing. It's right in line with what you're seeing. Let me see about that. Yeah, it's right in line with what you're seeing with the business ones. Just they don't have hybrid benefit available here. Okay, I felt like there was more I was going to say about pricing. I don't quite remember all those things I said back there. Let's give a quick look at this. Hang on. Right, I mentioned 300. Okay, yeah, I think we're good there. Okay, what's next? Oh, yes. So how does one actually get this thing? So, business, again, super easy deployment. Essentially, all you need on the business for a business one is you just get the Windows 365 license up. So what am I saying? So when I showed you that machine, you actually buy the license just like that. So back to here. This line, let's try it again. This line, that's a license. And anyone who's worked in Microsoft 365 and applied licenses, it's the exact same thing. You go and you get a Windows 365 business license for a 2 CPU machine with 4 gig of RAM and 64 gig of storage for $28 a month. And you buy that license, you assign that license to somebody. So what do I mean? That it's just like kind of Microsoft 365. You have a user, that user needs email and Office apps. What do? I go to Microsoft 365, I buy a Microsoft 365 Business Standard license, and I assign that guy the license. You assign that guy the license, boom, he's got it. He can install Office, he's got a mailbox, great. Same concept here with Windows 365. You choose one of these lines, you buy that license, you apply that license to him, and that machine spins up, takes around 20 minutes or so, and the guy's got a Windows PC. Hey, awesome. On the enterprise side, it's a tad more involved, but still an easy setup. And I'm emphasizing that it's still an easy setup because VDI is not an easy setup. And this is actually a much easier setup. So on the enterprise side, this is the concept of the enterprise machines can connect to other things around them. That's important here. And, and it's reflected in what it takes to set it up. You need an Azure subscription, which is just saying to Microsoft, I need an Azure subscription. You know, I don't even actually put anything in it. It just needs a subscription to make the Azure tenant. Then you need a few licenses. You need Windows 365, Windows 10 Enterprise, Windows 10 or 11 Enterprise, Endpoint Manager, and Azure AD P1. This sounds like I'm getting a ton of things, but Windows 10 Enterprise, Endpoint Manager, Azure AD P1, those are all in various bundles. So Windows 10 Enterprise, Endpoint Manager, Azure AD P1, I'm pretty sure are actually all in the Microsoft 365 E3 bundle, E3 and E5. They're both in that bundle. Endpoint Manager and Azure AD P1, I think are in the Microsoft Business Standard bundle, which is the one that has mail and, oh no, that's not true. Maybe Business Premium, that makes more sense. That one has mail, Office apps, and a bunch of security stuff, which Endpoint Manager and Azure AD P1 would come under. So it's not the craziest thing. There are bundles that have these things together. And then from there, you create a virtual network, super easy. It's like click, 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 you're done. You add the PC to that virtual network. Again, click, click, click. It's like one screen where you just choose 3 things and you're done. And then boom, that machine will spin up you apply the licenses to the user and that machine spins up for that person. Among the nice things on the enterprise side, it's actually I don't know, this is like where you geek out. You can assign, you can do a whole bunch of stuff as far as assigning the machine to them. So you can assign the concept of the user gets a Windows 365 machine to a group. So when you create the user and you dump that guy into that group, he gets all the security things that you have on that group, all the apps you've applied to that guy, all the controls you've applied to his machine, and it spins up a Windows 365 machine for him with all of that stuff already applied, which is awesome. All I did was create the user and put him in a group. That's sick. Okay. So yeah, there's a lot you get out of the enterprise side as far as machine coming up the way you want it and with the security and compliance you want. Just to be clear, on the business side, you can make a custom image so that it's spinning up the computer from a custom image you make. Why would you use a custom image? Because I wanted to install certain software. I want the machine to come up with certain software, like maybe a line of business application or something along those lines. So I make a custom image. When that machine spins up, it spins up with those apps already installed. Okay.
I think we have another question, Norman. That's okay. Oh, there you go. Avi, I'm gonna unmute you and just need you to unmute yourself with the little microphone. There you go.
Hey, so can you hear me?
Yeah.
Excellent. So quick question about Active Directory management of these endpoints. I have a few clients that are basically cloud only. So they have Office 365, Exchange Online, SharePoint, Azure AD. Can I run the enterprise Windows 365 for those clients, or do I need to create an on-prem AD, even if that on-prem is in the cloud on VMs, that's now syncing to the cloud?
Okay, yes, great question. Okay, so like enterprise right now requires either an on-prem AD server or an AD server running in Azure. It does not yet work with Azure AD, but they keep saying it's coming. So I mean, it could be any day that it's going to work with Azure AD. I was actually super surprised about this answer because it just made so much sense to me that if I could do all those things for spinning up the machine and Microsoft Endpoint Manager and Azure AD P1, that I could use Azure AD. But I'm told that no, you need like a real AD server, either sitting on a server in your office or sitting on a server in Azure.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Avi. We do have another question. Sorry.
It's
if I
coming on
cannot-
the enterprise side and it's coming on the VDI side, supposedly.
I'm
That's
sorry, I don't
fine.
want to pronounce your name wrong, Eva or Eva, but if you can unmute yourself and ask your question, we could definitely try to address it. Looks like it's muted on your end. If you could click the little microphone button, sometimes hard to find on the control panel, and you could speak. And if not, I will read your question, but just hop in if you figure that out. The question is, how proficient do customers need to be with Azure networking in order to deploy Windows 365 Enterprise?
Okay, so before I get to that, business is super easy, spins up, it's super easy. Enterprise, it's mildly involved. It okay. There's a number of things here. If I have on-prem resources, so I have an office, and I have servers in that office, and I want this to connect to those servers, it's at least somewhat more involved in that I need to know enough to be able to make a site-to-site VPN connection between my office firewall and Azure. So yeah, there's I don't know, it depends on how proficient someone is, but yes, there is a bit of, there is that bit, and that definitely takes some technical proficiency. Is that information out there step by step? Yes, that information is out there step by step to create a VPN tunnel from your firewall to Azure. And that's probably the thing that takes the most technical proficiency. The other stuff is it's set up in Azure, and a lot of it, like, there are some things that step you right through it. There are online guides that step you right through it with screenshots the whole way through. And B, the various steps are actually pretty easy. They're like, when I say click, 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 it's a lot of click, click, click. It'll be options in one screen. You basically have to choose 3 different things, make 3 different choices along the way. It's not like, oh, I gotta go and I gotta click and I gotta make this virtual thing and I gotta assign subnet to it and IPs. No, it figures out a lot of it for you. So how technically involved? I would say medium. That was a long way of saying medium.
Thanks, Norman. We got another question. Keep sending those in, everyone. We'll take a few more. We still have a little bit of time. Michael Tierney, I'm going to unmute you. There you go. Hey, Michael, we should be able to hear you now. Oh. I see you unmuted. Can you hear us? Can you speak? All right, I'll read your question in the meantime. Has a training path been developed yet for MS365, including a cert path, is the question.
Say it again. Has a training path?
Or has a training path been developed yet for Microsoft 365, MS365, including a cert path?
Oh, that's a great question. I don't know. I would assume the answer is no, because it's so new. And as far as certifications goes, I haven't seen it listed yet. I don't know. I can come back. I can look into it and come back to that one. The guys on the tech team will know that because they're the ones always looking at what cert to get next. So I can come back to you on that one.
Great, thank you. Actually, Norman, do you mind moving to the slide with our contact info? That way, Michael, if you don't mind, just shoot us an email and we'll make sure to get you that answer. And for everybody, I'll also say it, you can reach out to us with any other questions that we don't address at info@rcsprofessional.com. That's Romeo, Charlie, Sam, no S at the end. I think unless anyone has any other further questions, feel free to send them over. But other than that, I think we're good to wrap up unless there was anything else you wanted to add, Norman, before we do.
Really? I feel like there are more questions out there. Oh,
Sorry.
hang on. Let me give me a quick.
Here's
more.
actually one more, Norman.
Oh yeah.
Can someone have multiple Windows Cloud PCs assigned to them?
Yes. This is a great question. If the guy needs different machines for different functions, yes, you can assign multiple PCs to the same person. What you can't do is have two people sharing one PC. Why? Because it's key to the user themselves. In other words, you take a license, you apply it to that user, and it's that user that's going to be logging in. So it's going to be that user's security, that user's MFA. So yes, the user can have two machines. No, you can't share a machine between two users.
And can a user upgrade their Windows 365 Cloud PC, or does an admin have to do that?
Two answers here. On the business side, you need a new license. So it's not like, okay, wait, time out, step back. When you log on, you as a user log on to Windows365.microsoft.com, which is where you go. Once you have a machine, you go to Windows365.microsoft.com, and in there you can see your machines and connect to your machines. But in there, if the admin gives you this functionality, there's little three dots in the top right corner of the square of your machine. And in there are things like reboot, restart, and you can theoretically upgrade a machine from there. You cannot do this for a business machine. For a business machine, you need to apply another license to it. You need to get the license for the better machine, apply it again, destroys that machine, creates a new machine for you. On the enterprise side, if the admin can give users the ability to upgrade their own machines. So it's an admin function that I don't think is enabled by default, but an admin can give them that ability, and it's in that Windows365.microsoft.com that they would see that functionality. And then Windows 365 on Microsoft.com, I wish I could show that to you, but unfortunately I can't. It's great. You log on, you've got your machine there. You can either connect to it right there in the browser, which is amazing. Your machine is in the browser. You can click on it, make it full screen, still within the browser, but full screen. And so it looks like your whole machine is actually a Windows machine. And you can set up your RDS connection. So if you want to have an icon on your desktop, you can do that. You want an icon on your start menu, you can do that. Yeah, it's all there when you connect to your machine in Windows365.microsoft.com.
So awesome. Last question, can I connect to a Teams meeting on the Cloud PC and see, hear, and speak on the meeting?
Ooh, yeah, this is definitely, it's amazing how much this one comes up with our clients and remote machines. If you get a powerful enough machine, right, going back to that pricing that I showed you before, if you get a powerful enough machine, yes, you can do Teams with all the stuff like video meetings and video calls and all that. Yeah, that you can do that. In fact, Microsoft knows the machine that you have spun up, and they optimize installs based on that. So if you spun up a machine that would say 2 virtual processors with 4 gig, which isn't, as we saw on that list, isn't enough for the full Teams experience, it's going to optimize Teams for what it can do, which in that case happens to be audio only. Oh,
Awesome.
On that note of the Teams experience and what I was just talking about with being able to use this and maximize it to use the full screen, you can use multiple monitors. So if you've got a computer with 3 monitors, as I do in the office, you can connect to your Windows 365 machine, and it will use up all your monitor space. So you can have a 3 monitor, or actually I think it's up to 16. What did I just do there? 16 monitors. I don't know how someone would ever have 16 monitors, but I think that's the limit. You can have multiple monitors and it will use all your monitors. In fact, okay, so before I go on too much on that. So this is one of those unknowns that one needs to play with in order to figure out what it can really do. And where is the unknown there? If you're connecting from a Windows machine, Windows 10 being the minimum, all of this stuff is going to work. If you're connected from a Mac, the early information on this is that some of the stuff will work, but maybe not all of the stuff. So it's one of these things that you really need to test what you're going to be doing to make sure it's going to work on the platform you're going to be connecting from. So it's not quite fully cross-platform with the same exact functionality, but it's pretty close.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much, Norman. That was super informative. You just have this way of making complicated things uncomplicated. I know these questions continue to come in, so please do reach out to us. I put the information in the chat. We do want to answer all your questions, just have to cut it short for the moment, but we always welcome your questions. And before we wrap up, I just want to invite everybody to our December webinar. We do a webinar a month on all different topics like this one. Our December webinar is about getting out of password prison. If you, like me, before RCS had a million passwords and couldn't keep track of which ones were for what, this webinar is for you. We're going to be demonstrating actually single sign-on and how that works and how it helps you keep track of all your passwords in a safe and productive way. So just want to thank everyone for
I don't type in my passwords anymore, everybody.
Side benefits of working at RCS.
That's what we're going to talk about in December. And yes, I don't type in my password anymore. I don't know when the last time I've typed in my password is.
I don't either since I met Norman. So it's been good. But we invite you all to join us on that passwordless journey. I put the link in the chat. You can find it on our website, rcsprofessional.com. Thank you so much, everybody, for taking time and joining us and for all your great questions. And we'll see you in December on the next one. Thank you, Norman.
Thank you. Bye, everybody.
Bye, everybody.